Good evening. We are back once again. Thursday night chat, back with you all. And we've got Ozzy joining us now. Rich and Pat, you saw their mushies earlier on. Tonight, Ozzy joins us as well. Good evening, gentlemen.
Evening.
Hello, Martin. Feelings mutual.
Morning.
Anyway.
You're right, Martin.
You know when you end up like going stream to stream and you're like, yeah, this wasn't the greatest idea put on the planet and world. Right, anyway, good evening, gentlemen. Hope we're all right. Rich, thought you changed.
Very good.
Where's your bright yellow? Should do that. Get a bright yellow one now.
Yeah, well, we've had too many weeks where we've all been in black, looking like we're some kind of group in some bunker in Donbass somewhere. So I thought maybe it's time we expanded from the black only wardrobe.
No,
black never goes out of fashion.
Richard looked like we're doing every show from the Berghain in Berlin.
Yeah, it was. I thought we were in Zelensky's bunker last week.
Right, I'm just Vader's joining us in the next 5 or 10 minutes. Alan can't be with us tonight because he's had to go and do other stuff. Just never mind. Anyway, hope all is well. Mingy Wong, good evening, Martin. Hello. Guys, remember that the Premier League winter break starts this weekend, if you know. Yes. For some, the weekend break or the weekend break. Winter break has begun. For others, it is next week. We don't play again in 2 weeks' time for Tottenham. We're going to talk about that. Oh, am I pissed off about that one? Simon Clark, become a YouTube member. Thank you so much. I thought you'd become a YouTube member on the other show. Unless that's just doubled over. That's weird. I don't know. But again, thank you for becoming a member, mate. Good evening, Adam Quinn again. FIFA's putting on Stockport charity. Feel free to donate for hospital equipment. Yeah, I know the Stockport NHS are putting out a big thing at the moment to help get equipment. How many people will be on this stream? We'll wait and see. I missed most of the last stream. Looking forward to this one. Smash a like. The lads are grafting tonight. I'm doing a great job, lads. This is massive. Thank you so much. Section, How Do Blues? Thank you to everyone who's come and joined us for double duty tonight. It really is an amazing sight to have you all on. Cracking banter with the Geordies earlier. Evening, Peter. How are you, mate? Hope you're good. The two lads were great. Very enjoyable episode. It was. Go back and watch that after we've done this show. DC, hello again. Hello, Ed. How are you, mate? Alec Johnson is in the building, and I will tell you now whether it is the real Alec Johnson. It is the real Alec Johnson. So you figured out how I can find that one out now. Right, we're going to kick off while I go through all the comments as well. I'm going to start off with the sad news today about our former manager and England manager, Sven-Göran Eriksson, who has told everyone today he had terminal cancer. Yeah, it is sad. He said he's not got long to live. Didn't look great when he sort of said it, I'll be honest with you. You can tell. I've met Sven on one occasion, Derby County game. Real gem, was dead nice to me. I know he's had his off the field incidents in the past, but for me, what goes on in someone's personal life is their personal life, and it should never be judged. But because you tell me anyone who's not made a mistake in the personal life, I'll show you a liar. Simple fact of the matter. So all our thoughts and everything go out to the former England and Manchester City manager, Sven-Göran Eriksson. Lads, none of you want to say anything on that before we just, and I'll just more comments.
I think, I've got very fond memories of Sven-Göran when he was at City. He, certainly particularly that West Ham game and the start of that season, I think, it was, I guess we'd had a little bit of money or debt injected and we'd signed, some exciting players, Valery Bozhinov and, was it?
Giovanna.
Bianchi, Rolando Bianchi. and
he wasn't good, Rich.
Arnie and so it was kind of an exciting time. It was a really weird season because it probably ended with one of the worst performances we've ever seen, when the players almost in support of Sven-Göran dropped their form. And
I was there, and we
and,
sang his name for 95 minutes.
Yeah, and but we also had some really good highs. So, you know, by all accounts, an absolute gent. And yeah, as a manager, he was a gent. And you know, I still think, you know, there was just too much going on behind the scenes there that going on. But no, good luck to him, and hopefully, you know, with modern treatments and things can be, you know, a bit more successful than he's clearly fearing.
Right, and God, stop right now. I got told this earlier that Kanji wasn't in training, and everyone went he was back in training. The video was false. It was from last weekend's game before the FA Cup game. Kanji is not back in training. Carry on.
No, I'll just quickly mention, Sven, because, you know, my memories go all the way back to England manager, and, you know, he was manager of that England side that got absolutely battered by the Socceroos at Upton Park, you know, 3-1. And, you know, I remember hearing the stories about saying that he never wanted to England to ever, or as long as he managed an international level, he never wanted to manage a match against Australia because he just saw how aggressive we were and everything and that. And for me, just being an Aussie and that, I just loved that, you know, because it was any excuse to sort of stick it to old Blighty, basically. But, you know, when he came in as city manager, obviously my attitude towards him changed quite a lot. And, you know, it was disappointing. We only got to experience, you know, having him in the club around for a year and that. But during that time, as you alluded to, Martin, he was an absolute gentleman. And, you know, he was just a good person, a good personality to have around the club. And, you know, I don't want to get too much into some sort of like obituary because, you know, we can still enjoy, you know, having him around with us for a bit of time and that too. But yeah, as you said, Rich, it's just like, we can only hope that he has a nice quality of life for as long as we have him around. And, you know, hopefully he can still make the most of the time that he has available with his loved ones and just, you know, just enjoy humanity for what it is, you know?
Yeah. Ozza?
Yeah, I don't think there's much more I can add really in the respect of just, you know, Rich and Pat have kind of beautifully put, you know, he was a time in City's life where, you know, he did the best with what he had. And again, with England, probably could have done more with the players he had, but, you know, that was that golden generation, I suppose. It is sad news. You know, doctors aren't always right. You know, I've heard a lot of cases where people are given 12 months and they have more years in them. So, you know, it is horrible news, but hopefully he gets longer than a year and he can spend that with his family and friends. So, yeah, all respects to him. And, yeah.
Yeah, exactly, Michelle. There's lots of lovely comments going in. Yeah, it is what it is. Didn't he bang? Well, yeah, I know. Martin, I don't want to hear more about Spurs game. Every time he's had a chance to boycott, he didn't, but whatever used to people's own fault. So am I not allowed to say anything, Andy? More about Spurs game every time. Am I not allowed to say anything, Andy, then?
Well, I think Andy said no, so that's you out of it.
That's it then, game over. I won't say about it. So I'm assuming we don't like Kanji injury. No, looks like that way.
Just get Andy's spiritual mentor Alan.
I've invited Andy on. Let's see who's going to come on. I've invited him on. Sven is a charming man. He is. He was. I'll never forget that Middlesbrough game where we literally just sang his name the whole game. It was amazing. It really was. Good evening, fellas. How everyone's doing today? We're good, MT. So how many people now with compromised immune systems? Don't. Okay, man. Super City. I'm not going to do that on here. No, not going down the coronavirus sort of conspiracy route. We're not doing that. Julie, don't think there's any info. I love Sven at City. Best wishes to him. No, says Andy. I'm not allowed my opinion. Section load of tone of the place. Yeah, by the way, that is now up and running. As you can see there, top left-hand corner, savageonlinestores.com. Click on there for 10% with the discount code MANWAY. So there you go. That is now on there for all your sporting, football, memorabilia, cups, and everything else in delights. Get over there. Great website. Great manager at the beginning about upturn from memories. Yeah. So yeah, we just hope, however long he's got, he has a great life with what he can. It's sad. Right, let's get into our first topic. I know we've talked about this, but I thought while it's been the window and it doesn't seem we're going to get anyone with the Kimmich news and the Paqueta suddenly out now for 5 or 6 weeks, injured. It's weird that I'm starting to think this Paqueta deal's never happening, because every time we get into in kind of a window, he either gets banned or he gets injured. What's his next thing that's going to happen? It's like, I just don't think that's just destined to ever happen anymore.
He might get deported, Martin.
Pardon?
He might get deported.
He's the new Isco.
Yeah, get deported next.
Yeah.
You get no.
Martin, he's the new Isco, mate. We're just going to be linked to him every year.
Yeah.
Paqueta's the new Isco. Yeah.
The new Isco, yeah.
So I asked the question, is the squad big enough to go on 3 fronts? Rich now sent me a huge big text last night, and me and Rich were going at it at 4 a.m. in the morning, where these two were in bed, where Rich was telling me that about all the 22 men we got, but he did include Gomez and he did include Phillips in that little squad, and a few youngsters as well.
Well, one, Oscar Bob.
He didn't include. Hang on, go on, Rich.
Unless you're going to start including. Well, I just said that, people are saying we've got this tiny squad. If we include Gomez and Phillips, we've got 22 players, 2 players for every position, which is about the right squad. Now, my view is we should probably change Phillips and Gomez, because I think Phillips is going and we need to replace him. But 22 players is on the big side for Pep, and I don't think we can go much bigger. I think what we have now is a squad that's the right size. We just have a couple of players in it who aren't quite at our level, and we need to swap in for better players. But we would start to, and that shows as well in the squads we name. I think we've got, 16 players named in our 17 in the Champions League squad. So Phillips goes, we've got those 2 slots as well. So I think that's what's going to happen. But yeah, I'm not remotely worried about the Gomez one, to be honest, because we've got Ake, we've got Guardiola, we've got plenty of players who can play there. My only squad worry, and the only thing I think we should do now, is get Phillips out and bring someone in.
Aussie, Pat?
Aussie, you go first, man.
Rich, I wish I could agree with you. I normally do, but I'm afraid I'm going to have to kind of say you're wrong on this count. Or
which position? Which position am I wrong on? which position don't we have 2 players?
This is what I had at 4 a.m.
Yeah, can I mean, just to share, Ozzy, and get your opinion, but in goal, 2 players, Ederson, Ortega. Right back, Lewis and Walker. Centre backs, we've got Akanji and Stones, and then we've got Diaz and Ake. Guardiola and Gomez left back. 2 players for every position. I'd argue that all 10 of those players, with the possible exception of Gomez, are high City quality players. Then in midfield at the moment, you've got Rodri and Phillips. I don't think Phillips is good enough. You've got Nunes, Kovacic, Bernardo, KDB, Foden. So maybe put one of those to right wing, but that's 4 players for the 2 attacking midfield slots. So chuck Bernardo on the right, and you've got Bernardo and Doku, Grealish and Bob on the left, Haaland and Alvarez up front. So you've got 22 players there, 2 for every position. I would, and I'm more than happy with Bob. I would argue the only weakness there is Phillips and Gomez. Get those 2 out, bring 2 players in, and I don't think we could possibly go bigger than that. I think that's probably already on the big side.
I think where you're wrong, Rich, is that the problem is that, I mean, you alluded it just before. The thing is, with the Champions League spots, we've got Grealish and Phillips who are having to be put into the foreign part of the, but they're not actually classed as English.
We could have 22 English players. My question is, if we've got 2 players for every position, is a big squad. Why is 22 players not big enough?
Because I'm about to make that point. Because, am I right or wrong, Martin, that next year's Champions League is going to completely be bigger and longer than it has previously been? We're going to have, we won't even get the home and away
4 more
legs.
games.
It's not only 4 more games, Rich, it's also the travelling, because as far as I was looking today, some games you won't even get a home game. You'll literally be travelling away to somewhere, and we don't know where that could be anywhere with the Champions League.
You get 2 more home, 2 more away than this season. Next season, that's what we'll get. So I'll have 2 more away trips yet.
But that's not including the Club World Cup at the end of the season as well.
Yeah, but that's 3 transfer windows away. You know, we can't have a squad now for 2025.
Well, that comes in. I thought it was 2024 that comes in.
I think it's the summer of 25.
No, it's the end of next season. It's the end of next season.
Euros.
Yeah.
So that's
yeah. This year was the end of the current format for the Club World Cup.
They're not having a rest because they're all pissing off to internationals in the summer.
Yeah,
so they're still not getting a rest.
Yeah. I mean, exactly. So there's going to be no rest for these players. I think with the extra competitions coming up and with the, European, Cup in the middle of all this, Rich, I don't think the squad is big enough. I think, and now that the other thing that I think we need to start thinking about is, I know we're not going to get completely into this stream, but if Pep leaves at the end of 2025, you've got to think no other manager would be able to deal with the size of the squad that we've currently got, and they wouldn't be able to do what Pep has done. So for me, you've either got to think about what's coming if Pep does leave in 2025. You need to start thinking about bringing these players in this coming summer window.
So you'd bring in players for a manager you don't know who it is. I mean, to me, if we think Pep might go,
we don't know who it is.
Reason, yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's even less of a reason to spend money if we think Pep might go. I mean, that's even more of a reason to hold the money and wait and see who comes in.
No, because you need to start thinking about now, Rich, because the thing is that we've got Kevin De Bruyne, who's 32.
What happens if the manager comes in who doesn't fancy that? I mean, to bring in players for a future manager you don't know who it is sounds madness.
My question was more now than 2 years down the line.
No, but you have to start planning, Martin.
My point is it big enough and is it good enough to go on all 3? Because I know what Rich is saying.
The good enough, I think, is a good point, because Gomez and Phillips, I don't think are. So
I also, Rich,
I don't disagree with.
I'm going to shock a lot of others. Don't think Rico Lewis is ready for some of the big games right now. Very good player.
I'll disagree on that. As a right back, I think he is.
Rich, he's been bullied in certain games lately. Bullied.
Yeah, he has been. And not that with Rico,
going to play them top games either, Rich.
With Rico Lewis, he's not.
There's 22 players. The 11.
No, Rich, you're not getting my point. You're not getting my point. You said 22. That includes Phillips and Gomez. We know they're probably not going to be used.
Yeah, and we should replace.
Right. My point is then, but we've included Oscar Bob, who is an up-and-coming youngster. We've got Rico Lewis, who is a brilliant talent. He's going to be a City player for 20 years. Trust me, he's a mate. Well, however long he'll be, he'll never leave. But he's still not ready for certain games. And we've had fans for 3 months, whether we like it or not, telling everyone that Kovacic and Nunez are a bag of shit and ain't ready.
Well, Kovacic isn't long-term, and Nunez we haven't seen the best of yet. So the jury's still out on really what those 2 players are going to really bring to the team.
Now, for me, I'm happy with Kovacic and Nunez. The question I'm saying when you get to the last stage of the FA Cup, the last stage of the Champions League, and a Premier League running. And the other thing that I think everyone has missed is there is 5 players that are already well over 2,000 minutes. Well over 2,000 minutes, or at 2,000 minutes, and you're going to have to continue playing them.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's our fault. I think we should have played Lewis more.
But you're also thinking who may leave it in that time frame over the next year or two. You know, Kevin De Bruyne might decide to call time his career. Bernardo Silva is very much saying he wants to leave. You know, he could leave next summer. You know, I think you have to think about it.
But Ozzy, I don't disagree. But if they leave, we replace. We don't replace in case they leave. Otherwise, we could say, well, actually, we've got 22 players who will leave. Let's get another 22 in, and then we have 44. We can't name most of them in the squad. So we can't afford, squad-wise, training-wise, players being happy-wise, winning-wise, to replace players now because they might go in 6 or 12 months. You know, if the contract's up and they've said I'm going and they've signed a new deal with, you know, Real Madrid or something, fair enough. But we can't, you know, on the off chance. And if De Bruyne goes, we'll get big money for him.
I've had this on every other stream. Certain fans want KDB wrapped up till February, March, or whatever.
Yeah, we've got
the point is, the squad is not big enough to do that right now.
Well, I would for the Newcastle game disagree. I think
no.
We can play an 11 without De Bruyne.
I'm talking onwards, Rich. The point I'm making is, because I do agree with you, you're either going to have to bury Rodri in the ground, because this is my worry with Rodri. Rodri's already at, and I can confirm to you now, Rodri's at. Where's his name? By the way, I'm going to break some news to you now. In 2 weeks' time, Martin will have gigs on this show. I need reading glasses. They are ordered. They are bought. I will have them on to read.
I thought you Ryan or Rodri for a minute.
Rodri's already on 2,047 minutes.
Has he had a season here where he hasn't done less than 3,500 minutes?
That's my point, though. He's going to get more than that. Plus, he's going to piss off to the Euros in the summer, then come back. So, I don't mean in the window we should go out and get 4 and 5. Don't mean that. I do think we need 1 or 2 more. Because I think we're going to
Gomez and Phillips. Yeah.
Rodri's career will be gone by 29. Yeah. You might as well wheel him out. Remember we used to joke about Liverpool with Bellingham? Ozzy, you'll remember this, and Pat. Remember, he goes to Liverpool, they'll bury him in the ground. His career will be over by 26. Yeah. We're doing that.
Even Trent had a slight burnout a 1 or 2 seasons ago.
Yeah.
No, and I don't think there's a City fan who wouldn't replace Gomez and Phillips with better players.
And you can tell I'm talking and it's breaking news. Andy's agreeing with me, and Andy never agrees with me. And he makes a good point. We've not been able to rest anyone yet. So I know what you're on paper, Rich. You're going, yeah, it's okay, but there's a massive difference gap-wise between our number 1 and our number 2. The gap was like that. The gap's now gone like that with some.
I think with Phillips and with Gomez, that's true. I don't, you know, I want Bob to get game time. You know, and if Bob is 1 of 6 up front, and we've got a lot of flexibility, I just think that the idea we can suddenly add 4 or 5 numbers of players to the squad and not have massive problems is wrong. I think what we have to do is very tactically address clear issues like Rodri. Rodri's been an issue for years. We've had an issue at backup at CDM for years.
The thing is, though, I mean, you're looking at Rodri, and the problem is that Calvin Phillips has come in, and I don't think he was a Pep signing, really. He was, you know, a cheeky Sven-Göran signing. He was brought in as an England international as a backup, and Calvin Phillips was happy to do that. But for whatever reason, Pep doesn't think he's good enough. You know, he's probably one of the first players that we've ever seen come into the club who basically has had virtually no game time, been able to even prove Pep wrong that he can do a job. So I think for me, I think there's not necessarily going to be you're going to be able to bring in a Rodri replacement. I think you're going to have to look at bringing someone who can do like 6/8 role, someone who can go back and do like a Gundogan, who can come in and if necessary move into that position when Rodri needs a rest. Do you know what I mean? Because I don't think there is a Rodri replacement out there. I don't think there is a proper backup. So for me, you need to be looking at, I mean, we've talked about the midfield. I think you do need to bring in at least 2 midfielders in next summer.
Pat, what do you think?
Yeah, and listening to all three of you, both sides make good points, and yeah, that's the key. The key for our squad is there's such versatility that to us we know that because we know every player, we know the names, we know what they do, what they play, how many minutes they play, and things like that. We know them to a T. But because of their versatility, anybody from the outside looking in would think that we have a massive squad. You know, it's like the old libel sticker they have on the side of mirrors in the car. Objects appear closer or larger than they seem. You know, that's exactly. I think that's what Pep does with his man management. He's able to make a small squad look absolutely amazing because they can play in multiple positions. And Ozzy says something there that I really wholeheartedly agree with is we don't necessarily need a Rodri replacement because it is big boots to fill. But what you need is a versatile number 6 that can come in and put a performance in as good as what Rodri can do when he needs that rest. Because if there's anybody in football in England right now that needs a rest more than anyone, it's Rodri. But
I don't think you'll find a single Manchester City fan who doesn't agree with that. I don't think you'll find a single City fan who doesn't think we should replace Phillips. And, effectively Phillips is a number in a squad.
Phillips is a number 6 though, isn't he? That's the thing though, Rich. Phillips is number 6 really. He's never been a versatile player. Yeah, but you know what I mean? He's not the versatile player that I think we need to come in. So an 8/6,
it's not good enough,
like obviously. A Gundogan.
No, because because that's what I think Pep wants. He wants versatile players. He wants players that are almost in a utilitarian sort of role that can play in multiple areas and things like that. And I think Calvin Phillips is. It's a bit harsh to call him a one-trick pony, but I think he is in Pep's system. That's why. That's why he'd be a lot more suitable for other Premier League teams.
Akanji's still out and Stones is out injured.
That's another thing, though, Martin, as well, is that you look at our injury list, okay, and our injury list isn't that bad. You look at some of the other teams in the Premier League, they are horrendous. If we would have the injury list of the other clubs that have got massive long lines of injury, we wouldn't have 22 men in our squad. We'd barely be able to field an 11, Rich. If you really think about it, if we had the amount of injuries that other clubs are having right now, we've been lucky. We were very lucky last season, and I think we're very lucky this season. If we had the injury list of other Premier League clubs right now, we would barely able to field.
We won't be fielding 11.
To be fair, if we go back a month or so,
we don't have an EDS though, Mike. We couldn't even bring in an EDS to help us out because all we have is Bob. No offense to Bob.
And then after that, it's under 18s playing in the under 23s at the moment.
Yeah. Rich, bring your boots. Get in the game.
Quite right. I don't have a left foot I compare to Phil Foden like
he's never letting this go.
Quite right.
No, Rich, I agree with you on paper. It looks okay. It's just when you put the injuries in, the players that it is, and like I said, if you want to rest KDB, Because right now the problem is you can't. Otherwise, you're gonna drill Alvarez into a ground where he don't come back from. Alvarez is just getting to a point where he's gone. And the problem is we can't keep playing everyone on painkilling injections. Can't keep sending them out painkilling, injecting them, and let's roll.
We're not cortisone. We're not cortisone FC.
And then the problem is, you get to like Haaland was reportedly playing 3 or 4 games when he was playing with a painkilling injection in his foot until Pep went, "This can't carry on now. It's just going to go." And then he had that stress fracture or whatever it was with his foot. And he's still out.
In a couple of weeks' time, probably at the beginning of February, we might well be sitting here thinking, being annoyed that Phil's unhappy because he's been dropped to play for Kev. Alvarez isn't playing because Haaland's back in the team. And let's not forget, Martin, you were very worried at the start of the season that Alvarez wasn't going to get any games because Haaland was going to be playing and he might leave. So, but the fact is, we will get players back fit, and we economically and in terms of the way Pep runs a squad can't build a squad that has 22 top players, allowing for 7 injuries, because A, you can't name 29 players, and B, if you do that, we are going to have the Cancelo, Mahrez, Laporte situations that we've dealt with. Now, where I agree is that 22-man squad means...
Are you saying that Pep can't handle more players, Rich? He's not
He doesn't want to. He doesn't want to. He's said 1,000 times he doesn't want to have too big a squad because if you have unhappy players, you drop. Sorry?
Andrew, he doesn't have a choice in that soon.
Well, if we start not giving Pep a choice, he'll go.
No,
Rich, question. You have to think. Who buys our players? Who do you think?
Who buys our players?
Really?
Well, Cheeky has his list, and
but who has one of the biggest lists? You completely missed his name right off.
Who has one of the biggest lists?
Omar Barada.
Yeah, he's the
Omar Barada. Yeah. If Omar Barada says to Pep, like Ozzy just said, Champions League's getting bigger, World Club Cup's going to get bigger because we've got the whole summer. You need to have a bigger. You need a bigger squad, Pep. You think Pep's going to go? No, thanks, I quit.
No, I think it'll utterly depend on the conversation. If Omar Barada says, Pep, we think you should have a good new squad, and Pep says, yeah, you're probably right. Well, let's go and do this and this. It's fine. But if Omar Barada says, I'm giving you 4 players, and Pep says, I don't want 4 players, and Omar Barada says, I don't care, I'm giving you 4 players, Pep walks. But I don't think their relationships are like that. I think they'll sit down and discuss this at some length and come to an agreement on it. Because I think
I'm being a bit naughty.
The one thing that is true is that Cheeky, Pep, and Ferran are like that, and they are completely aligned. So I don't see a situation where City's hierarchy and Pep suddenly become disengaged.
Let me throw this one out. Phillips goals. We know Kimmich is off the table. We know Paqueta is clearly off the table. Is there anyone out there right now who we can buy for a decent amount of money without getting absolutely done with our pants right back down, who we can get right now? Because I can't think of one. There is only one option for me. There's 2 options out there where it becomes a very easy deal. And I was going to mention it earlier on the Newcastle stream, but I didn't really want it. With the Bruno Guimaraes one, because he's got a release clause. It's a very simple deal, done. Release clause. We are release clause FC. Or you pay a shit ton of money for Paulinho in a negotiation, but he's 28. I don't know where everyone's got this idea Paulinho was 22. So someone says Paulinho's young. No, he's not. He's 28. Yeah. I don't know where this Paulinho was young came from. It amazed me, that one, when that pumped up. He's 28 years old.
Is there someone like Ruben Neves, who I've always thought was a much better player than he was given credit for?
Why would he leave Sauda?
Because a lot of the players aren't quite as happy about being there as they thought they would be.
No problem, though, Rich. Because according to the tax laws, they come back before the 2-year exemption, they've got to pay the 45% tax. Are they going to do that? You might as well not bother going.
Yeah, some might, some might not.
So this is what I've never got into this for coming all from Saudi. It's why I never believed when Newcastle were going to Saudi, because it's like players are not going to just, they've gone to Saudi for the money. They're not going to come back a year later and pay 45% on that money. They might as well not bother going. Do you know what I mean? It becomes a non-entity of a year then. They're just wasted a year out the shoot.
My worry on Guimaraes is I don't think he'd be any better defensively in front of our defence than playing.
I'm just plucking.
He's a better player.
I'm just plucking names.
Palhinha.
I'm just plucking the names.
Palhinha could, he's someone if Rodri wanted a month's rest, he could come in and play that role. I don't know if there's, you're really looking at the moment either players in the last players in the last 6 months of their contract who you can offer money for that their clubs get as a bonus, or there's 3 teams in the Premier League who are apparently about to get pinged for FFP in the next couple of weeks. Well,
look at Newcastle.
You might get a better. You might get
going with this, Rich.
Player out of them.
Kiwi striker, played for Burnley, played for Newcastle.
Oh, for God's sake!
No, I mean, Everton.
Why on earth? No, I'm sorry. I've got to open this can of worms. Vader, give me the thumbs up. Vader's currently doing Gordon Ramsay in his kitchen at the moment.
So he's the real ITK.
Tell me right now, Vader. Good evening, Vader. I hope you are well. You're on mute, mate.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
As you can see, Vader's now properly part of the family because he's now on the thumbnail. No, you got your microphone in front of you. You're not saluting. Do not ever mention that guy's name in my presence ever again as a Manchester City signing. Chris Wood ever puts on that blue shirt, I will go down there and have my own private protest. I don't care. I will just do it. Don't ever mention it, Rich. I don't care if not Forest business.
It was
Here we go, Marty. Oh, Marty picket lines.
Yeah,
standing up the front of the ATN.
I'd love it. Winning the Champions League. Winning the Champions League.
Just be careful with your protest, because if you're just going to stand at the front and you scream "No more Wood," they're going to be like, "What are you on about?"
Yeah, it would make football, wouldn't it? Winning the Champions League. Chris Wood up front.
It'll make me missus up there. No, sorry.
Why am I? Seriously.
The show's gone downhill quick.
I can't sleep.
I'll be back in a sec.
Oh, we're off the rails. Oh, this is what Thursday night chats are about.
What, Martin and his wood?
Yeah,
I reckon.
I'm going to bring in a new show for you, Rich. Yeah. No more Rich Rants. It's just going to be the Chris Wood Chronicles or something.
Yeah. He's that good. I reckon, like Michel Vonk, he could be centre forward or centre back. I reckon Chris Wood could do both roles for City. Give us the versatility we need.
Yeah,
let's change the name of the as well to the Wood Way.
I'd love to see
here, and you're ruining it by carrying it on.
I'd love to see Guardiola pinging the balls, that Wood just nodding it down, Alvarez running on top corner.
Yeah,
Champions League. We'd be winning 3 or 4-0.
In a perfect world, Chris Wood should be at our club for the last 5 years. He'd be getting close to breaking Aguero's record, and then when he does, it'd be Aguero bringing out some special sort of trophy that the club has made for him, and it'll be Aguero and Chris Killen bringing out the trophy.
Rich is eating his breakfast live on air. I'm talking about Wood. What's going on here tonight? Have we lost the plot? Has something gone? Vader's cooking. What is it? Has everyone gone bonkers tonight?
One thing we haven't talked about, Pat,
we do things differently here at the Mancunian.
I promise you, the
one thing we haven't covered is
Mancunian way. We'll be back at his usual spot next Thursday at 9 p.m. Anyway,
could Chris Wood deputise for Rodri? I mean, he's shown his brilliance in other roles in the team. Could he actually play a CDM role?
I want to get Vader's.
I think he's a very versatile player, mate.
Yeah, I think he could do
it's
CDM as well.
yeah.
Vader. I'm ignoring you two idiots.
No, you know what? Chris Wood doing like a Joe Linton.
Oh, God, he's going to join
reinvention
in.
type thing.
Yeah.
Moving back to new Joe Linton.
Yep.
Okay.
Vader. Is our squad, in your opinion, big enough right now, if Phillips goes, to fight on all three fronts?
Oh, it would only be doable, but it's because Pep would do a madness. It's because Pep would keep Stones healthy enough to play that role maybe a couple games. He would get Kovacic to play that role a couple games, because it would be a matter of managing how much we get out of Rodri, because I think he's been doing it that way out of necessity because Phillips hasn't been up to the races. But I don't want to try to go for all three trophies again without someone to be able to be there for Rodri. And I think that's where we're most vulnerable. And these injuries aren't really going away. This is the longest we've had Holland injured, right? Stones has been injured off and on, I think, a lot more frequent than we would have expected. And then
Akanji's still out, by the way. That, I don't know if you've seen that training video, was from before the FA Cup game. Wasn't real.
Okay. And then we were all, I was one of them, giddy to see KDB kicking ball again, but we don't know what that recovery might be like. So Pep can do it, but it'd be a stressful run.
I apologise for any ladies who were offended by that. I do apologise. That was a bit of locker room banter. We can do it when Alan's not on because it's done in a sensible way. When Alan's on, it just goes completely haywire and goes the other way. But we do love Alan. We hope he's back soon. There's a time we'd have prayed for a player like Chris Wood. Jesus,
Chris Wood was so good. He was even able to be England's third choice goalkeeper before he decided to start playing up front and go to New Zealand.
I apologise, DC. Apologise.
Is this a classic? If his name was Christian Woodilnino, he would get his ratings.
Chris Woodinho.
Christian Woodilnino.
Martin would have a lot more respect for him then.
Get Wirtz. I don't think Wirtz is ever going to happen. I think Wirtz has Bayern Munich written all over him. Yep. I don't know why. I just think Florence Wirtz is a Bayern Munich player, all ends up.
Who?
Florian Wirtz.
Florian.
Florian. Right.
What are you saying, Florence Wirtz?
Said Florin. But I do think he'll be a Bayern player. I think he's... Because here's my scenario where I think that's what happened. I think Alonso will end up at Bayern in the summer, and he will take Wirtz with him. Do you remember, like KDB came to City and could have gone to Bayern, but he left Wolfsburg and came to City because Pep was on his way to City. I know we signed the year before, but we kind of know it was a Pep signing. I think that's the same with Alonso and Wirtz. Just a guess, but I don't see City ever giving up on Paqueta. Because when Pep likes a player, Pep likes a player. He never gave up on Nunes. And we got him. I know some fans disagreed, but Pep wanted him 2 years ago. We got him. So, and I think he won't give up on Paqueta. But I agree. Looking more and more like we'll do no business this month. And that's where I think we may scupper down possibly on winning multiple trophies, because I think we'll run Rodri into the ground. Kovacic has been superb the last two games, but the trouble is with Kovacic, his record shows he cannot do 10, 15, 20 games or whatever in a row without an injury.
I tend to agree. I think we can cover anything else in the rest of the season. Any other injury, I think we can cover. Even if we had two injuries in a position, I think we can cover. The one I don't think we can is Rodri. unless Stones was 100% fit for the rest of the season. But I think there's just no chance of it. I'd love Stones to have 10 games, let alone 30.
Rich and Pat do not really want Chris Wood. Say, you're starting to scare the subscribers now. They think you actually really want Chris Wood in. Yeah, they want Haaland off to Real Madrid and Chris Wood's coming in.
All I say is just look at Chris Wood single-handedly turn Newcastle around. They went from a relegation team to Champions League with Chris Wood.
We've got 24 hours to sort it. Come on, see, make it happen.
Super City makes a very good point. Scan the barcode for custom gifts. Support Andy at MCFC 9320 Pubcast and our own channel. And you get the Mrs. Grealish mug for Valentine's Day.
Mm.
Don't know if you
Andy's off to design a new mug now. It's going to have Chris Wood's picture on the front saying, "Got Wood." It's Chris.
Please don't.
He will now. Actually, yeah. I've just kicked the hornet's nest.
Can we have a copyright on that or a kickback? Do we get a percentage on that?
Chris Wood in a City
David
shirt.
Silva was the last player we really missed. Right. So we'll go around the table. Rich, you think the squad's okay to go on all three fronts?
No, I think we need to replace Phillips.
Right. Okay. Pat, anyone else other than replace Phillips if he goes?
I think if Phillips goes, it's like for like. You've got to replace with one at least, and even one I'd be okay with, like one. But it's got to be very, very specific. So it'd be a versatile player that can hit the ground running. Now that makes the list a lot shorter to me, but that's what January business is about. If you're going to sign players, they've got to be ready to go straight away, as much as they're about coming in for the next 3 or 4 years or whatever it is. So I would like to see one more, because I just think this January transfer window does run some sort of parallels to the last time we made a big signing in January. And, we're coming off a treble season and, things have changed now for the club. We need, we're in more competitions. There are more games. So I think there are things changing in the football landscape. And I think City just need to start looking at January window. I think the big question for me is nothing is done while they're out in Abu Dhabi, then nothing will be done at all. So I think that 10 to 14 days in Abu Dhabi, which we do have used previously for extending contracts as well. I think that was a topic we were considering discussing at some point today as well, wasn't it, Martin? I think, you use that time to extend contracts. This might also be a time to actually look at new faces in the squad as well.
Well, yeah. Ozzy, do you think other than Phillips we need anyone?
I think we do, but I don't think we're going to sign anybody in January, to be honest, even if Phillips goes. I think the players that you want to come in aren't available, because you are going to have to pay an extreme premium on them, no matter who they are. City aren't going to do that. I think City need to look at options in the summer to freshen up the squad, to look at what the plan is going forward for me. So I don't see anybody coming in. I mean, I said this about Kimmich last Thursday when we talked about it. He wasn't coming in. And I know you and Pat seem to think it's that time where somebody's going to come in. I just don't see it. Because you've said, who is there? Who's realistically going to come in?
Yep.
There isn't anybody.
I think the only one you could do is Bruno. And that's because of the release clause.
Yeah.
But even that, I think Newcastle would still cling on or make that
They can cling and make it difficult as they want. Is same with Bernardo's release clause. I'd say that's the problem with him. He's sort of stuck.
But is it is it available now though?
Apparently so. What I've read places that it's in now. I think there's a difference between a European and an English club, but that's about it. But it's whether I would City spend that kind of money now. I mean, Andy put one earlier on, Douglas Luiz. Again, would Villa sell their most pivotal midfielder in a section when they're going for top four for the first time in many years?
and they don't need the money.
Hmm.
You know, they would slap on 100 million plus. If
They are. They are. Jordan Henderson.
You can imagine if he signed for City in January.
Oh,
Liverpool fans, wow.
bollocks to Liverpool fans. I'll melt down, Ozzy. I'll melt down if he walked in the door.
Why? Player Martin? He's won a Champions League.
The opening credits would be Dad's Armour. I have no idea. FIFA. No, I do not want Jordan Anderson at Manchester City. No, thank you.
You don't want his leadership.
Are you being serious there? Are you kidding? Which one you going with?
I think it's serious because we've talked about lack of leadership on the pitch.
No, stop. You're winding me up. No, get off. We're getting off this subject. Paul Laporte is served as well, I think. You're just winding me up, the pair of you. I'm not.
Just imagine it. Henderson takes the ball down, slides it through. Chris Wood. Champions League. Imagine that.
Is this 20 years ago?
Wood.
Have I transported back to Joe Royal?
You know what? I've
got. You know who we could get? Jesse Lingard. Imagine Henderson, Jesse Lingard, Chris Wood. That could be our. We could build our team around them.
I hear Martial's available as well.
Matt Fogg, thank you so much. Has gifted 10 YouTube memberships out onto the channel. If you have grabbed them, thank you, Matt Fogg. You are becoming a legend of every show now. Of doing this, every show is becoming this. Thank you so much. That is honestly amazing. Thank you so much.
You know what? Liverpool, they're on a possible quad charge, right? With their because they're in all competitions. So that season when they were pursuing it, they obviously failed. But when they were pursuing it, Pep had to choose on how to really manage the squad because we did have like a recovering Walker. We were trying to get Stones fit. Like that's when we didn't have enough defensive players and we lost to Real Madrid. And I think we've already won trophies. We've already won 2 trophies that we've never been able to lift before. I think if the squad does remain as is, if we don't replace a like for like, we might have to look to Pep to actually make a choice on which trophy are we really going to pursue with the maximum effort and maybe we'll see how far we can go in the others. And if we were to have to choose, I'll leave it for every individual to choose which trophy they want to pursue, but Pep may have to make that decision.
I don't think because he was being serious on yes, let's get Jordan Henderson, ladies and gents.
He was a very good leader for Liverpool, though. He was a very good leader.
I know, but people think you're being serious and like everyone's going into meltdown in the chat.
I just like to stir the pot.
Yeah.
Jesus.
So, Ozzy, do you think Jesse Lingard could do that?
Oh, right. We're moving on. Sorry. Let's get it. Jesus. Right.
Isn't he a free?
Pardon?
Yeah, he's apparently his agent's been talking to Barcelona saying that maybe the reason they're going wrong is they haven't got Jesse Lingard.
FIFA, thank you for renewing your membership for a 4th month. Another legend. You're all legends, but thank you so much, FIFA. That is amazing. So appreciative. Right, let's get on to topic 2. 2 things. Someone brought it to my attention yesterday. We weren't going to talk about this, but I'm going to talk about this. Evening, gents, and evening, chat. Hope you're all good. Hello, Andrew. Are we doing the £61 Burnley thing? He did mention it last night at a huge show. And an utter joke of a Friday FA Cup game. Apologies if covered. Now, I'm not going to have the big, massive rant about Spurs on a Friday night, 8 o'clock. And I disagree with Baz, who was on the Newcastle thing. I think it's very different. Yes, they've got one on a Saturday night at 7 or 8 o'clock or wherever it is, but it's a Saturday. Ours is a Friday. We're all going to have to take a day off work to gone down to old North London. Or you're going to have to take a half a day off work, whichever way is, you're going to lose a day's pay, basically. Whereas Newcastle fans don't really have to do that because it's a Saturday. If you don't, well, most people work Monday to Friday. I know Saturday's still a thing, but I think ours is slightly worse with it being a Friday. The last train back to Manchester, I got an email about thing, but Amos Murphy put it up earlier on, who goes on there, and he does talk about it very, very well, that the last train from London Houston is at 22:03. So basically, people are going to have to leave 20 minutes to 30 minutes earlier of the game to go and get their train. Or they don't go, or you drive down. And also, it was announced at the Huddersfield game that 2,000 additional tickets were put on sale because Burnley have not sold out their level 3 of their allocation, and they've been put on sale for £61 an adult. Jump in while I just nip somewhere very quickly.
It's going to have to be a weekend in that there London, isn't it, for people who want to go.
You all right for 2 minutes?
Yeah, it'll be a weekend in that there London for anyone who wants to go and make a day of it. Go and see the museums. I mean, you know, it's I'm more annoyed because Saturday morning is deeply inconvenient time to watch City. You know, it'll probably affect my handicap if I'm having to watch City at the same time.
Yeah, I didn't think I'd see it at the pub on next Saturday week. Yeah,
it's disgraceful, absolutely disgraceful. Yeah, I went to Spurs. Went to the game. I don't know, was it 5-6 years ago when we played Spurs on a Saturday night? Loved it, brilliant. You know, I know people wouldn't necessarily got back to Manchester, but it meant a full day. You know, drinking in east and northeast London. It was at Wembley. Yeah, I really enjoyed that on a Saturday, and a lot of fans really enjoyed it. You know, there were a lot of City fans out in London having a really good time, but you can't really do that on a Friday in the same way because, you know, you can't make a weekend of it. You've got to, you know, you've potentially got to work and, you know, take time off. So I don't like the Friday night games, but I sadly think it's just inevitable for the television. I think what they should try to do, though, is pick games that make sense. So if you're going to have, it's like the Christmas Eve game. We didn't talk about it. It didn't really, you know, it didn't affect City, but I thought playing the Christmas Eve afternoon game for Chelsea and Wolves, absolute disgrace. You know, that's telling people that they've got to put football, you know, they've got to put going away to Wolves ahead of their family and, you know, not getting back till late at night on Christmas Eve. But that's the way football's gone. You know, if it was a London derby on Christmas Eve or the Friday night game was, you know, you know, Blackburn against City or even a game like Huddersfield against City, a local game within half an hour, I get it. But London against Manchester, it is totally wrong. And, you know, there should be some kind of allowance saying if you're going to play a game Friday night, you're going to play a game Christmas Eve, the teams have got to be within 30 miles or I don't know, but there should be a ruling like that, say that the TV gets its way, but it's not completely screwing supporters.
Rich, am I right in saying that the Carabao Cup, I believe the first 2 rounds before Premier League teams come in, they actually do the draw on North and South?
I don't know.
I believe I've seen something similar. I don't know if the chat can say anything. I mean, we won't see it until Martin brings them up. But I'm pretty sure that the last couple of years they've changed the drawing now, where the Carabao Cup is done like rounds 1 and 2 are done of like a North draw and a South draw, probably because there are lower division teams and just the logistics of getting up to, you know, from one side of the country to the other could be difficult, you know, in the early part of the season. But
and
I can't see. I couldn't see why that wouldn't be a bad idea in the third or fourth round for Premier League sides, but Premier League and Championship sides. But again, you know, it just comes down to that. You know, the way the football landscape is at the moment. They care more about the armchair than they do the fresh air. So,
Yeah, I mean, there's not. You actually look through it. Actually, I mean, looking at the draw, there aren't actually really. I mean, a few replays could give a London derby, but a lot of the games are not that easy. I mean, you know, Blackburn, Wrexham, Bournemouth, Swansea, Fulham, Newcastle, Sheffield, Brighton, Newport, United. I mean, all those Leeds, Plymouth. I mean, they'd all be massive problems. So maybe you just say no Friday game, or if they have the Friday game, an amount of the TV money goes to pay for, to pay for 100 coaches to take the fans. You know, I don't know how much it costs to hire a coach for a day, but I say it's $2,000 or something to get a coach to go from Manchester to London. You know, 200 grand of all the TV money has to be given to the club to put on free coaches from, London to Manchester for the game. And there's things that could be done, but they should.
The club did put some coaches on for Luton as well, so I can't see why it shouldn't be an issue. Because I mean, the timing does not benefit anybody. It does not benefit anybody unless you're from London.
It shouldn't necessarily be the club who do it. It should be either the pot of money that the FA has or the TV stations, because it should be about, well, if you're going to cause a massive problem for fans by putting a game on Friday night and that's worth £3 million to the FA, then they should, or whatever it is, then money should come from that.
Yeah,
I think the problem is like, I think like kind of Andy alluded to earlier in the chat, is that this argument has been made so many times, and there's been asked for boycotts, from the fans to say no, we've had enough of this. It's not fair. The problem is that nothing ever happens. Fans
and the
just
problem is,
suck it up and just
an away boycott would do absolutely nothing, because Tottenham would sell those tickets tomorrow and they'd get more money for them than they'd probably get for selling them to away fans. So it's not even an away boycott, and the home team doesn't care in this situation, because Friday night, if you're a London-based Spurs fan, Friday night's probably a great night. Instead of going to the pub, you go and watch Spurs, you go to the pub afterwards. Brilliant. So it's only the away fans who are going to be pissed off.
I think the other problem this really kind of comes down to is, I hate to bring politics into this to a little bit, but it is the north-south divide where it's the connections for trains and for public transport links for London are top notch. The rest of the country has to rely on Victorian age rail systems that are just not fit for purpose, trains that are not fit for purpose. So, it wouldn't be so bad if we had the proper connectivity in this country like other countries do.
Or just go back to the old days where you had the football special. I mean, why couldn't they put on a football special at 11:15 at night that guarantees every City fan could go back? I mean, instead of 100 coaches, you have a train. I mean, it's possible.
It's possible, and I think
we used to have football specials when I was young, and you'd go on a train. It was basically there, admittedly not necessarily at 11 on a Friday night, but the train was there just to go from A to B for the football fans, and full of football fans, and at the time that suited that game. So why couldn't the powers that be with all this money they've got be talking to the rail companies and have a train that goes to Manchester at 11 o'clock at night? You've probably got 1,500 people who'll go on it. Be perfectly economical.
The problem is, Rich, is that you talk about the train companies, but there are massive issues in this country with train companies. I mean, they can't even run trains when strike days are not happening in this country. So to ask them to put on extra train late at night, I mean, it's just, I'm afraid it's farcical.
Obviously, I missed what you were saying.
But you could, West Brom win. You could have had West Brom Wolves on a Friday night.
I mean,
no problem for anyone.
I'm not going to lie. I'm going to be going to the Spurs game, so I'm not going to have a big massive, because on Andy's channel we had 1894 on, and they were talking about this, and it's like they said, there's a breaking point for every fan. It's more of when that fan gets to their breaking point. My breaking point may be different to Ozzy's. My breaking point may be different to Mater's. Pat's and Rich may be different to me. And that's the thing. We've got rumoured 99,500 tickets. Will they sell them all? Probably not. Now. Because you'll get some who will say no to this. Because you're going to have to drive down. And the problem is with Tottenham, what makes it even worse is, because I know, I've been researching it all day, there's no parking at the stadium. Because it's all North London road space. You know, these terraced houses and all that. So it's a
Man,
nice
it's not even the
stadium,
best on the tube. It's not even the best on the tube, apparently.
It's not like you can park at Watford and zoom in that way. It's a very... It's a North Circular job in it and round and into the inner sanctions of London.
Yeah.
But so the problem is, it's like me. If I want to take my child, can't go now because you can't take a day off school. If I wasn't in the position I was in, where I can now get a carer for that day because I planned it, I can I wouldn't have been able to go because I'd have been in a school. I can't book a day off. When you work in a school, you can't just book a day off. You know, in Ozzy's job, needs about 5 months grace period on booking days off. You can't put something out 2 weeks beforehand because every City fan who wants to go will now have to go into work over the next day or two and all going to be fighting for the exact same day off. And ain't going to work. Someone's going to lose. Now, the ticket prices, they will be lower because it's FA Cup. I don't think the £61 stuff. £61 is not great in level 3. I agree. I think it's the same price in the because I looked earlier. There's a lot of returns coming for Fulham, for Burnley at home. A lot of returns came back in. Because it's a Wednesday night, a lot of returns went back into that game.
Martin, do you think because there's a large spell between games, right? Like this game falls almost, is it not a week since the team would have played before?
What,
from Newcastle to Spurs, it's about 12 days.
Yeah. So do you think that plays a factor in terms of fans wanting their football? And I mean that's a long spell. So booking and trying to go to it, because then the game after that, it's a home game versus, is it Burnley? You guys said.
Yeah, on the Wednesday night. That's why see, there's another thing we don't know. I know. Listen, we're surmising. Maybe the club have asked to be on the Friday night because we've got the Wednesday game. This is one thing we don't know. The club may have said put us on the Friday. So it's okay as well blaming the FA. I'm not saying, I'm surmising. I'm just saying we don't know. Because they couldn't have put us on the Sunday, the Monday, because we got the game on the Wednesday. So, and I don't think it's a full set of fixtures. Some are playing, I think some are not again. So it is a difficult one. I mean, like I know Baz was saying earlier, Newcastle are at Fulham on Saturday night at 7 p.m. That's on ITV4. So that's not even like we're on the main one, ITV1, the main terrestrial channel. Newcastle have been dumped onto the bloody BTEC channel, and then has to go down and play 7 p.m. on a Saturday night, and then they can't get back home. So we're all bitching and moaning, but like I said, it's when you get your breaking point. Because listen, I bitched and moaned about Community Shield, still went. So it's hard to bitch and moan when you still go. It's when idiots like me who do still make the effort because it's in me blood, it's in me heart. I'm going to do that 10-hour trip, get back at 5 a.m. and do it. So I can't bitch and moan because it's full me. I'm doing it. I'm giving. I can't protest and then go. I can't do it because then I'm just. Nothing will happen unless 9,000 fans go. We ain't going. Have an empty stand.
Yeah.
But we know it ain't going to happen.
Yeah.
Why? Because to go to a normal away game at Tottenham would start at what? 30,000 loyalty points? So 90% of people who are going to be able to go to the Tottenham game away are going because they can't get to the main Tottenham game in the Premier League.
Yeah.
So more fool us a little bit in a way here, because what the FA and the Premier League and everyone are doing is playing with your emotions. They're playing with your emotions. I know my breaking point, and I've told you, my breaking point is moving games abroad in Super League. That will break me. I'm done. That's when I do tap. But I can't bitch and moan at that because I'm going. So I can't bitch. I can't come on here for 2 hours, scream the place down, and then I'm on TV going, come on, at 9 o'clock in North London. I can't do it. So I'm only being honest with that one. I've got something to show you all, by the way, in a minute, because Andy's already done a cup.
Yeah, I know what you mean, mate. You can't protest Chris Wood and then go to the city store 5 minutes later.
Yeah, I can't protest Chris Wood and then go and get his name on the back.
Yeah.
Martin's got a shirt. It's got no wood on the back.
No wood.
Yeah, he got given it for Christmas by his missus.
Andy, if you can send me that via WhatsApp, I can put it on the screen here. So if you can send me that thing by... Rich has got 2 minutes. So, Rich, final thoughts on that? What are you... car sharing? Good idea.
No, my final thoughts is bring back the football special, and that the FA and the media companies should be... If they're going to put a game on, there should be rules that say the two teams can't be more than 20 miles apart. So you play Wolves, West Brom, or, Chelsea, Brentford on a Friday night. I think the even bigger disgrace than this was Christmas Eve, Chelsea away at Wolves. I think that was one of the worst disrespectful decisions for a very, very long time. So I think they should either be made to organise coaches or a train so that fans can get back after the game to, their home city stadium and coaches down, or you put a cap on the distance between two teams that play on a Friday night. And the Premier League could do that. If they're going to have Friday night fixtures, it should only be able to be like London derbies or Midlands derbies or Northwest derbies. No Newcastle against Luton or City Southampton or anything on a Friday night.
Right, hang on a minute. I'm going to put this up.
He's actually
done it. He's actually done it. Right, Rich, thank you for joining us, mate. I know you need to shoot. I need to put this in. I can't believe he's actually done it.
Yeah. Well, Pat and I are on the wood train. We're definitely on the wood train.
Well, you start with that. You can't say you're
good night, everyone.
It's a good night from him, and it's a good night from me. Right, this is what Andy has done already. I don't even know where to go with that, because that has got to be that's now in a limited edition. He could get 10% off that. He'll do it, yeah. Chris Wood with the Premier League.
I should be getting half the profits. It's my bloody idea.
I think you should have Champions League trophy.
No, I was the one. No, but I was the one who came up with the whole God Wood concept.
So there you go.
I didn't get the pattern in time.
Is this a wood mug? Yeah, it is. And this is the thing. It's and everyone said it, while our emotions are there, we can bitch and moan all day long, but we're still going to go. Why do you think fans pay 500 quid for tickets? Everyone moans about these websites, but until you stop buying off these websites, they're still going to do it. Yeah. So what I don't know, it's mad because it's like Vader's over in Canada, and it's what $500 to go and watch games over there. Why? Because people will buy it. If everyone went, nah, not buying it, they'd stop it. It's supply and demand. While there's demand, there'll be a supply. So we cannot bitch and more. And this is why the 1894 group tried. They tried, but the trouble is, like you said, live on Andy's show again, I can't do anything if people still go.
Yeah.
It's when that breaking point hits. And it's sad. It is sad, really. It really is. Anyway, well, do you want to do 10 more minutes? We'll do a Q&A for 10 minutes.
But I was also just going to say, too, 61 quid for Burnley. That's top 6 opposition prices. Yeah. Burnley should be 30, 40 quid easily. That's really steep for Burnley. I'm sorry.
Exactly like DC put, Martin, you'd be shocked what I paid. I bet I'm not, because I probably know what you paid. Plus, you paid flights and a hotel.
Yep.
Chris Woods for car park attendant.
But Vader, what was that noise you were making before? Are you chopping up food?
Yeah.
On your chopping block? Chopping up food on your chopping block. So you've got wood as well, have you?
Right, what we'll do is for 10 minutes, we'll do a Q&A. So if you've got any questions, throw them in. Never mind all that. We need to score a goal at Tottenham first. Yeah, bollocks. We need to score a goal at Tottenham. So never mind doing our house down there. So
yeah, I've got to win a game.
We need to score a goal. Never mind win a game, Oz. Score a goal. Wow. Could you imagine, though, how stupid it then becomes? 9,000 of us all go down there and it ends a draw and it ends 0-0.
No, man. Do you know what it'll be if we do? Do you know what it will be if we do win? We'll win 1-0 and it'll be a Tottenham own goal. So we still haven't scored. We still haven't scored.
He went, Dad, you're going out. I went, yeah. He went, knowing your luck, we're going to end up 0-0. It'll be a replay and you've got to travel all the way down there and all the way back on a Friday, get home at 5 a.m. and for a 0-0 when it was on TV. I went, cheers for that.
No. I think if we win, it'll be 1-0. It'll be a Tottenham own goal. So it'll still be the record if we haven't scored.
I'm not even reading that one out.
Oh, for God's sake.
Wow.
Space tonight, Martin. I don't know if I've got the courage anymore. Did you see the Tevez quotes on Echeverria? He's clearly impressed. No, I haven't. Have not seen any quotes on it. Do you know what it is with me about Echeverria? He's kind of gone out of my mind now until a year and a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's kind of out of sight, out of mind.
Alvarez went a little bit quiet after we signed him.
Yeah. Because listen, there's going to be people who will do watch-alongs and they'll watch him and they'll... Because I bet LB does them and Gundalorian, who's on Twitter, he will do... People do reports on him. I just don't have the time to sit watching Argentinian football. I wish I did, but I need some more hours in a day. Dogs can't put out
it's worth watching just for the atmosphere.
That's why I like our community as well, because when we don't have the time, I'll lean on someone else and I'll value their opinion on it because we've heard them talk ball before and I'll trust it.
I mean, just on this, by the way. I mean, I know you touched on it earlier.
Wait! Is that a rumor? Is that a rumor?
It is the rumor going down. Honestly think
they'll be in Abu Dhabi. They won't be in Dubai.
I think he will extend without a shadow of a doubt. Because why buy these players? Why buy Gabardio 21? Why buy Doku 20? Why buy Echeverria? So has he just bought Echeverria and never going to see him again? Bye. I'm going. As you come in, I'm going.
Well, Martin, it happens all the time.
No,
We buy players, and
I think he wants that 10 years, Ozza. I think he wants that 10.
Martin, I hope you're right. You know, and I think
So do
you
I.
are right in some respects, but I still think you have to plan for, you know, possibly Pep not signing. And that's what I was referring to earlier when it comes to the summer.
You were talking a hypothetical. I know. I'm just because someone said that Pardo said about extending. I personally think he will extend. Do I think you'll get the 5 years? No. I think you'll get the year to 18 months rolling constantly until, and there'll always be a get out in it. Because I know they are. I know. I got told this by source. Haaland is in negotiations to sign an extension in the summer as well to get rid of, because one release clause reportedly left when Pep signed up, and there is another release clause there, but that's going to be upped and his wages will be upped. So don't believe all this crap you're listening to in AS or Marca or Real Madrid. Erling Haaland is not on his way to Real Madrid.
You know what I like? I do like the 2-year that Pep tends to do contract-wise, because it keeps everyone, and I mean everyone, accountable, not just the club, but even the players knowing, if I'm going to get the best, if I'm going to really maximize my quality, I know that this manager's only here for a finite amount of time. Like there's no like overextended stay with how he's designed the contract. So I think it keeps everyone just sharp and know that, hey, get the job done now because tomorrow's not promised.
I mean, he's got
plus every other club goes, oh, Christ, Pep. When are you going to leave? When are you going to give us a chance? I mean, Klopp must be praying like he goes in 2025.
He told you, also, when I win the treble again. If I win the treble again, I'll go. Not until. This is why I don't understand why everyone's craving the treble again this year.
Yeah.
Stop it. Let him get a league, 4th in a row, and then we'll go again next year.
Oh, that's funny.
Just simmer there.
That's funny.
Yeah. He said that. I think was it Aston Villa who went, what would you do if you won the treble again? Retire. He's got nothing left to do at that point. I'm saying you might as well just.
Apologies. Do you hear a fan? Do you hear background noise?
Nope.
Slightly.
Still bad plays you need for the manager. Yeah, and this is why I think Omar Brada's got a massive say in there as well. Someone did ask a question about Eric Dyer and Kimmich. Buying sign Dyer, any significant on Kimmich? I don't think the Kimmich deal was anything to do with who went in and who went out of Bayern, or even Tuchel. I think the Kimmich deal, and Super City put this earlier, the cartel will not do business with us, so we basically have Paqueta or Bruno G. I did some research on this week. I went looking at all our signings. When have we bought anyone properly from Barca, Real Madrid, United, Liverpool, except for Sterling, and Arsenal and all that sort of Jim and jazz? When have we took their best players? Where do we tend to go shopping? Lower down. So I think there's some truth in that. I think some of the cartel clubs will not sell to City. And I think that's part of the Kimmich thing. I think Bayern, because we know De Spiegel were backed by which football club in Germany? Why would Bayern try and wreck us and then sell us one of their best players?
I don't know, Martin, because I think even though I think Bayern is a slight exception to what I'm going to say here, but a lot of clubs out there in Europe need the money. You know, so I think there are a lot of clubs, even Madrid have got to sell to buy, really, especially if they bring in Mbappe, which I think is more likely than not because, yeah, for me, that's going to happen. And with the Eric Dyer, he was going to go there in the summer anyway. That was kind of nailed on that they were going to sign him in the summer. The only reason brought that forward is because they didn't get the. I think the player that Spurs have also just signed. I can't remember his name. He's a Romanian defender. Is that right?
Oh, that Dragonist, the
Dragonist or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds like a medication.
Yeah.
Playing up again, I need some Dragonist. Yeah.
So that's the only reason that Eric Dyer has gone there early. So that deal was going to happen this summer. So I don't think it has anything to do with.
City is sponsored by Etihad. They need to pull the things out and get some flights on for the fans. I know you'll get a cheap holiday. He's ours. He said he wants City, same as Kimmich. Say Dyer. If you want players like Haaland and KDB on 300 to 400 grand a week, then don't be surprised about sky high ticket prices. Good point.
Well, the thing is that our wage bill is 40% of what our revenue is. You know, we've got one of the highest wage bills in the Premier League right now. Other clubs are slashing them because they haven't got the money, and that's coming in with all the FFP stuff as well. Now that's why a lot of clubs aren't buying in January because of what's going on with FFP, what's going on with Everton and other clubs that are getting dragged into that as well, including us. So I think you want these big players, you've got to pay them the money. And I think one thing that City have always done is we've brought in players cheap and we've made them into superstars. And I think that's something that I think in the summer, rather than spending the money on someone like Paqueta, I think they'll look at what we've got currently, maybe on loan, maybe at our sister clubs, because you're going to be able to get quality players a lot cheaper in Europe than you will do for your Premier League rivals.
Oh, I don't know about that, Ozza. Don't know about that. I think you're taking a major gamble there.
Why?
Major gamble. Because I don't think if we're going, if our summer business is Sevilla, it's called the Yankutu. Nah, I'm not sure.
What, they're currently second in the league right now?
I need to see a lot more of them than one season.
Well, I mean, Yankoto has been there for what? Is it 2?
Been at City for 4
seasons?
years. Been at City for 4 years.
Yeah, he was signed as a very young player from Brazil, Yankoto. So he needed a lot of time to progress. And Savio is, yes, he didn't particularly hit the ground running when he came into the City football group, but he has shown that he is a top quality player currently in La Liga.
I'm not sure they'll do it because I don't see them going in trying to tear Girona apart.
I'm not about now, I'm about summer, mate.
No, but say they make the Champions League, they're still part of the CFG group. They're going to want them to do well in the Champions League.
I don't know.
If you go in and start taking all their players away, I'm just not sure because
not if they're getting a quality. Not if
City,
they're getting
they need better in midfield, mate. They need better in midfield than those. Get them in as squad players. Take care of FIFA 100%. I don't think they're ready for first team.
I think we can say that about a lot of players we've brought into City that we thought, are they really good enough? And then Pep has done his magic. The club have done their magic, and we've turned.
In the summer, they tried for Bellingham and Rice and Paqueta. Why would they then jump to Girona players? No offense, I'm not trying to be the arrogant thing here, but I think they will look for better quality as well. I'm not saying they won't bring them in, Ozzy. I think they'll spend money. Because FFP-wise, we are fine. We're one of the clubs that is up there being fine. And I just think you could do it quite easily. Like I said, I think Paqueta will happen. He's got a release clause out of West Ham's hand in the summer. 80 million quid or whatever it is, and he's ours. and he'd walk over hot coals towards the setter. So I think Paqueta's just, to me, Paqueta is a City player in the waiting.
But I'm not saying you're wrong, Martin. I'm just saying that I think if you spend the reported 80 million on Paqueta, then I think we need more than just one of the midfielders.
No, they want to. They've said that. They want to.
Yeah. But then again, we have that, and that's not including who could leave as well. Do you know what I mean? I mean, that's the thing. Silva could leave. We're still very much up in the air with Phillips.
Bit different that Mark. He wouldn't sign a new deal. He only had a year left on his deal.
And he was going to go the year before if it hadn't been for his injury.
Yeah, we were kind of backed in the corner on Sane a little bit. Sane sort of. Germany have this weird thing where they're like, at the time, the German Lowe liked his players playing in Germany who played for the national team. I don't know why it was a weird thing they had. Not everyone did, but main majority were players over there. Ticket prices don't make a dent in revenue for wages. That's very true. That is a very good point. It's more. I do know what you're saying, Ozza. Because there's rumours of Gomez going there summertime.
Yeah.
For this Miguel Gomez or whatever his name is, but we'd have to do a negotiation with Real Madrid. No. So that's a Real Madrid deal we'd have to do. The Yankuto, possibly. But again, that would be coming as maybe squad player. Otherwise, why sign Walker up for another 3 years? Yeah,
but I mean, Walker, as much as I'm a massive Walker fan, I wanted him to stay. I was screaming to you, Martin, saying that he has to stay in the summer. But eventually, he will, decrease. He will have less game time. It's just inevitable. It's a question of when, not if. And I still think you've got to prepare for the eventuality of bringing in someone, because I don't think Rico is that replacement as much as a lot of people are saying he is. I don't think he is, because for me, he's too much of a utility player where he can go into the midfield.
I just think going back to I think with the Echeverri deal, I just think you're taking a gamble on too many youngsters coming. You're taking that gamble on too many, and you need that little spark of quality as well. Plus, we don't know, like you said, one thing is true, we don't know what's going to happen with Bernardo Silva. Bernardo Silva is going to be the trump card again all summertime because of this bloody release clause he's got. I agree with that. I think the left back will happen. Yankuto will, but we don't know what's going to happen. We might have to sell Girona anyway. Well, lower our percentage right down.
I don't think we'll get a left back.
I think if Gomez goes, we will.
I don't think we will.
Who didn't fancy Nunes? He wanted Nunes at Sporting, Benner. See, everyone's going about this Savinho like he's done. I'm not sure it is. I'm not sure of him.
He is I've seen bits of him for Girona, and he has got some real quality. The way he can dribble the ball, go past the players, he is quality. I'm not saying you could immediately drop him into City's team and he would, But then again, we say this about a lot of players who come into City don't hit the ground running. But we look at Doku, we look at Haaland, we look at Diaz. They all hit the ground running. So you don't know. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, we'll see where we stand on this City group deal, because we're going to have to.
Because my argument to that is they can allow Red Bull Salzburg and RB Leipzig to play in the Champions League.
Yeah, but they're clever with it. Because if you look at the ownership, there's a different percentage and different owner names on it.
Right.
They're very clever. It's like, the guy who took over at United, or will take over eventually. He has is it Nice?
Nice, yeah.
He doesn't have it in his name. He has it in another business name.
Right.
You can get creative on certain things. So I don't know how they're going to do it. But City will have to sell they'll have to drop the percentage. Paqueta will be I just think Paqueta will be a City player all ends up. It's gone on for too long. They've gone for him in the summer. They reportedly were talking again in Jan. You don't then stop. You don't stop when the release clause then kicks. You don't have 2 bites of a cherry and go, nah, forget it, when the third one's a guaranteed bite. I just think it's inevitable he'll be a City player. Now, like I said, anything can happen. I just think the rumours weren't rumours. We agreed the deal in the summer. There was rumours we were talking again last week. Got the injury, dead out the water. And then this summer his release clause comes in. Maybe I'm getting 2 and 2 and coming up with an easy 4. I don't know, but I just think Paqueta will happen. Personally, think Paqueta deal passed over. Well, he's out for 5 weeks, 5 or 6 weeks. Don't think we're shooting up to sell Haaland. Haaland ain't going nowhere. No chance.
Madrid can't afford Haaland and Mbappe. So,
I think they're playing politics with Mbappe at the moment.
Yeah.
Very good politics. That is true, Martin. There was a German national team complication that helped the situation as well. So Sane was just a weird one. Sane was badly advised by his own mother. And apparently he has apologised to Pep afterwards. He made his own private trip over to apologise to Pep. Rico's a young man. Oh, look, listen, Rico will be here for a long time. I was talking more right now in the big games. I don't think he's fully there yet. But I don't expect to. So I'm expecting City don't own Girona fully. I believe if both make Champions League, we'll be able to play with both. No, we can both play. We'll just have to reduce our percentage down. Don't know what that level is, but we'll have to reduce it down.
No more majority ownership.
Yeah. Oh, shared ownership with Pep's brother. No. Even though that doesn't sound dodgy, does it? Your manager's brother owns the other bit. Pep maybe sell with Haaland someday and come back to a false 9. Not sure. No, because Girona don't own Miguel or whatever he's called. Real Madrid. It is Real Madrid who own him, innit?
I think so.
Yeah, so it can't be. We could maybe swap. So it wouldn't be a swap because we won't be doing the deal with Girona. Yankutu is an easier one because we own him. He's on loan at Girona from us.
Yeah.
Thoughts go out to Sven, 100%. Rico needs to mature and fill out. Rico's going to be an asset, 100%. We are short for Rodri and nowhere else. Extra would only be a luxury and a problem. We're going to wrap up in the next 2 or 3 minutes. Massively agree to me awful news. City will be ahead of the curve regarding Girona. Be interesting to see how that's played out. That Paqueta hug of Pep said it all for me. Yeah, good point. I've never seen any player go and hug a whole coaching staff. I've just never seen that in all my life. I don't care how much they love. I've never seen a player go down the opposition coaching record giving them all a hug. Oh, come here, give us a hug. No. Can you imagine KDB doing that at St. James's Park on Saturday, going down Eddie Howe and all his management team giving him an hug? You'd be like, what are you doing? Stop that. It's a percentage.
It'd be all right if Chris Wood did it, though.
I think he'll clear his name. Doesn't take 6 months to find out whether he's been betting. Didn't take Tonali 6 months. So why is it taking Paqueta 6 months? Think we'll get a left back, otherwise we'll sign Barco. I don't know where the Barco stuff come from.
Well, we pulled the plug because they said apparently he's a bit toxic in the clubhouse.
I don't know. Sancho's toxic, innit? He looks an happy boy today when he signed back to Borussia Dortmund.
Who did Sancho?
Yeah, someone's look at Barco in 2 years, 80 million quid.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, Tony Bloom knows what he's doing at Brighton. Right, we're going to end it there. I want to say a massive thank you to our panel, Pat, Vader, and Ozzy. Thank you, gentlemen. Go over and give Vader Games TV a lot of love. Vader, have you got any shows coming up soon, mate? Or are you still on your mid? I don't know. It's starting to become a season hiatus at the moment. He's dipping. I can't hear you. You're on mute.
Work, family, it's just been a little hectic. I don't know if the noise is louder now, but I'm going to get back to it, I promise. But I'm going to make sure I feature wherever I can and represent for the club.
Yeah, Vader will be there, I promise you, and we'll all be there to follow him. Go over and give him a lot of love. Don't forget, up there, QR code 9320 Pubcast. Grab yourself a 10% discount and even grab yourself a special edition Chris Wood. Lovely.
That's already got his order in.
I'm buying in bulk.
It's the only frigging time Chris Wood's ever holding one of them, innit?
Chris
Wood is never getting one of them ever in his life.
I'm getting that as your Christmas present, mine.
Still got your present down here somewhere. I've not sent it.
I know.
Still got my t-shirt. I'll send it missing, I think. Right, what we're going to do is, I don't know when the post-match for Newcastle is, because I need to see when everyone's available. Whether they want to do it Saturday night after the game or whether they want to go Sunday after the game. I will discuss it with the chat, see what they want to do. I know tomorrow night I'm on Bazzy's channel as a repay back through Black and White Eyes, 8:30. I'll be over there representing the Manchester City corner, which I've got to send me 11 over in a minute. And Saturday night at... Yeah, I bet you'll like this one. Saturday night at... Rich is asking how much. God's sake. Rich is asking how much that mug is. At 9 o'clock on Saturday night, I'm on Judge Mo's channel. So we'll either do something afterwards on here, later on, or we'll do it Sunday night. I need to see when the lads are available and who's available and when and where. But yes, I want to say a massive thank you. We are now 93 people away from 3,093. That is so close. If you can give a big, massive smash thumbs up on this show on the way out, that would be amazing. We have already smashed through nearly 1,500 views on the Newcastle show from earlier, which is just amazing because we only came off it an hour and a half ago and it's already at 1.5K. This one's 800. Share it around, subscribe, hit that like. I don't know what you lot are all laughing at, what you're doing. You see, I try and be all professional, Vader, and this is what happens. But what bloody love have I got here? You know.
Just check your messages, Martin.
What have you done now? What have you done here? Fucking set of 8. I'll buy him a set of 8, smash him over his head. Right, anyway, have a lovely evening. I'm going to go and have an argument with this lot. Smash that like. You are all legends. We'll be back soon. Keep an eye at Horsey Sitter. Do you want a Twitter space? I will decide. I will do it at midnight. If we do one, it will be at midnight. Over on Twitter. We'll talk all things Sitter. Andrew will be there. Ed will be there. Loads of people join in. They're getting bigger and bigger, these Twitter spaces. Vader may even be there as well at midnight. And we just go really, it's a sensible Twitter space. No, it is actually, no, Aussie, they are actually very, very sensible.
I don't believe that, especially if you're running.
I host them, and I'm bloody on it.
I don't have Twitter, so if somebody can just be pro Wood, that'd be great. Greatly appreciated.
Vader will do it for us.
Yeah, mate is coming in asking for a set of 8 Chris Wood mugs. Jesus. Anyway, you have had absolute bumper shows tonight. You've had 2 for the price of 1. We may make these previews on the regular. We'll see. But take care. Have a great evening. And we'll see you all very soon. And hopefully the Blues can grab themselves another 3 points away at the Toon. See you all tomorrow night or on the Twitter space at midnight. Bye.
We want wood.
So, yeah.
Yeah, get Viagra.